What's up, everybody? I'm Chase Lee reporting for DallasMoviescreens.com, and I got another movie to review for you guys, and that would be 47 Meters Down. So, me with shark movies is kind of like, you know what? If they can be entertaining or, slightly fun and, provide some good scares or some good gore, I'm going to have a good time in the theaters. So, when I saw the trailer to this, I was actually intrigued. I'm a huge sucker for any type of shark movie, and I'm a huge sucker for any situation that happens in one place, minimal characters, and it's just them trying to escape. And so I was kind of looking forward to it, to be honest with you. And walking out of 47 Meters Down, I kind of dug it. It's not like the best movie of the year or anything, but it does have some really great attributes of adding something new and fresh to the shark genre. So let's get real and break this down. So, like I said, going into the movie, I wasn't expecting much. The movie, the first 10 minutes is the setup. It's characters on a beach. Let's have some fun. They meet two guys, and they take them cage diving with some sharks. And then Mandy Moore and Claire Holt get trapped in the cage. The rope snaps, and then they're down at the bottom on the ocean floor. That's the movie. That's your setup, and they have to escape. Now, the setup of the movie is very generic. You have to set up the characters in the situation. But once they get down into the water, that is where the movie starts. I felt claustrophobic. I thought it was terrifying in some spots. I was impressed by the filmmaking. I think overall, this is a very well-directed shark movie. Like I said, this is not going to win any Oscars or anything, but as a shark movie, to provide that fear and that claustrophobic terror that you provide when you're down deep below in the ocean like that, not only escaping from sharks, but you got to conserve your air in your oxygen tank. It's some scary stuff, especially if you have a fear of deep sea diving and stuff, kind of like I do. Deep oceans scare the crap out of me. So their situation in this film, I was already terrified going in because I don't like that at all. But I think what the director did was provide with some really good cinematography to really kind of capture that terror and that feeling, that mood, the atmosphere of this entire film. The way it was shot was just so impressive. They shot this in a studio in a tank for the most part. And the way they just kind of maneuvered around with the actors and the way they handled the green screen, it looked real. It looked like they were actually down in the ocean like that. So I actually really give the director props for creating this environment that looked realistic and providing some interesting kind of cinematography with the dark abyss of the ocean and a couple flashlights and stuff. It's terrifying when you can't see what's going on. That's more terrifying than when you can actually see what's going on. The overall acting is fine. It's serviceable for the movie. I do think Mandy Moore and Claire Holt, they play sisters in the movie. They have decent chemistry. Mandy Moore definitely steals the show. I think she's the better actress. But they both do very well in their respective roles. Everyone else is fine. And this is where the movie kind of falls apart a little bit, is the actual story and some of the character decisions and dialogue. I really, like I said, enjoyed the performances. They're fine. It's serviceable. Some of the dialogue is a little hokey and does kind of get into that B-movie shark level area. But I think one of my biggest complaints about the movie is the actual plot, because when you see the premise of this movie, you're like, okay, so they're down there, the rope snapped, they're going to go get help, right? Not necessarily. If you want to have a movie, you have to basically stall for that help for an hour and a half and try to get them yourself. So, the boat that they go out on, I will just say that they try their best to help them when they could have done other options sooner. So that's kind of my biggest gripe with the movie, just story-wise and plot-wise. But the actual, I guess, method of saving them is actually really smart, because, when you watch the trailer, you're like, why are they sending down more air tanks instead of finding, a rope or whatever? They're sending the air tanks so they can, breathe and not die as quickly. And then, they tell them to stay in the cage, not only because the sharks are out, but also because you might get the bends, the nitrous bubbles in your head if you go up too fast. So, it was actually kind of smart to keep them down there and conserve their airflow versus, trying to swim up or, doing whatever because you could get eaten or bitten or whatever. And then, of course, the bends and whatnot, and you could die from that way. So I actually commend the movie a lot on the kind of scientific nature as much as they could with it instead of doing everything so asinine. You're like, oh, was that necessary? But besides a certain plot point in terms of maybe doing certain things sooner, everything else, it was riveting. It was enthralling to watch. I loved all the sequences. Really kind of captured that fear that you were down there with them, experiencing this. Like I said, I think the beautiful cinematography kind of helps that, accentuates the terror a little bit. It's actually some of my favorite cinematography in the entire year so far. It's not saying much, but some of the shots they provide with like red flares and like the dark abyss of the ocean and the sharks around them, it's gorgeous. It actually provides a lot more atmosphere than you would think, just from the way it's shot. And the sound design is also very good because when you're down there underwater, you got to make sure everything sounds legit. Since you're like recreating the ocean inside of the studio, and the sound design really kind of helps that out a lot as well. Now, the ending of the film, a lot of people will say, well, that was the definitive ending and then it just ends. I actually have a different theory on how it ends with the main characters, and I actually like my theory a little bit more just from the way it ends, and it makes it a little bit more grim, but that's the way I like it, guys. I like things grimmer, more grim. That's what I like, fam. So for overall, guys, I was actually really surprised by this. It was actually a decent little entertaining movie. Had some really interesting kind of shots and sequences. The acting was fine. Mandy Moore definitely propels the movie forward, and she's definitely not a bore to watch, so I will give her that. Everyone else was so-so. Some of the dialogue was hokey, and I believe the ending is a lot more grim than what people will make it out to be. Definitely not one of my favorite shark films, but as a decent little shark film, I'll give it a C+. Why not? It's a very average shark film, but I'm going to give it that extra edge up, that plus, because of the way it was shot, and just the, if you hate deep sea stuff, that claustrophobia will kick in, and it will definitely help your experience. So, what'd you guys think of 47 Meters Down, or have you even heard of it? Comment that place with my face and let me know. And as always, guys, I'm Chase Lee reporting for DallasMovieScreenings.com, and tune in next time for whatever I review next. I will not be going deep sea scuba diving anytime soon. I will see you guys later.